It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here in the second Sunday of August to do our Big Ten preview and prediction show. We have a special guest on with us tonight. I want to welcome Bobby Wilson to the show. Bobby, we are excited to have you.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. Greatly appreciated. I'm excited to talk about the Big Ten Conference here, conference that I've grown up living in. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, Bobby is a Midwestern guy here, so he was a good one to have on for the Big Ten special. Maybe we'll have him on the Group of Five a little bit later. Maybe he is a UConn fan and kind of knows a little bit about the Group of Five schools
Mhm.
and that kind of stuff. So, but we're excited to have him on the Big Ten. Welcome, John. What's up, John? How are you?
I'm doing good,
I'm
man.
doing
How's it
good,
going?
man. How's it going?
You excited to have Bobby on with us tonight for the Big Ten?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bobby knows his
Bobby
stuff.
knows this stuff.
he's
I
been
try my
doing
best.
He's been doing college football breakdowns on X for how many years, Bobby?
This is 5 or 6 years. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I know it's been 4 to 5. I know. Um, so we're excited to have him on tonight for the Big Ten preview. I hold you to this, guys. He's got to be kind of fast. There's 18 teams in the Big Ten now, so we're team. We are going to do these in alphabetical order. So there is no issue. So the first team that we are going to talk about, guys, is Illinois. Somehow or another, I is the first uh, letter in a team in in the Big Ten. I don't know. Go figure. Right? I mean, it just seems kind of odd that it would start
Compared
with
to the rest of the
I.
conferences.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, Coach Brett Belima has been there for a few years now. Started out kind of slow, but the last 2 years, he's had some pretty good seasons. We're going to start with the coach outlook, Bobby. You know, what's your stance on Brett Belima?
Well, I live just over an hour from the University of Illinois, so I better get this right. But so Coach Bielema is a Illinois guy through and through. He's from went to high school in Prophetstown High School, which is in northern Illinois. He's been around the block in this state. So I mean, he's done a tremendous job, in my personal opinion, recruiting this state and getting coaches in this state behind him and what he's doing. I really like that they lost their defensive coordinator. He was a great one, but they brought in Bobby Hawk from Montana, who was the head coach, and he's a very, very good football coach. And I think they're going to switch to. It seems like they're going to switch to a 3-3-5, so that'll be interesting to watch. But this is a program that has really evaluates well. The coaches do a great job. They don't recruit guys necessarily that are kind of above them, but they get these guys and they develop them and they turn them into pros, and they've done a really solid job with that.
John, he's 19-7 in the last 2 years with the Fighting Illini. I mean, that's pretty good company.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it
I
is. I
mean,
mean,
and the thing
the thing
is,
is,
they could
they could
have
have
one of the better rosters
one of the better
outside your conference,
rosters
your
outside your
traditional
conference, your
powers.
traditional powers.
Um, I do know that they
I do
brought,
know that they brought,
I think it's
I think it's
Hauser
Hauser
that they brought
that they
back
brought back
at the
at the
quarterback
quarterback
position.
position.
To me,
To
it's a
me, it's a
dangerous
dangerous middle
middle of the pack
of the pack
team
team
that could
that
push
could
for
push
eight
for eight
wins.
wins.
All right, Bobby, we're going to kind of run through these. Give me three of your most impactful transfers that you think is going to help this Illini team. And if there's only
Number
two,
one, the quarter,
just tell me.
yeah, okay. Number one, Contain Hauser,
Yeah.
the quarterback from East Carolina. That's, I mean, they lose Luke Altmaier. He's on the Detroit Lions right now. My favorite team, I'll add. But uh,
Huh.
they he's done a really good job, and he's played in the Big Ten. He was at Michigan State beforehand, so he kind of knows what he's getting into here. He's got some good zip on the ball, and he does a good job. I think another guy that's big for them is going to be wide receiver Alex Perry, coming in from FIU. He was really productive at that level. Obviously, the Big Ten is a step up, but at the same time, like he brings that proven production from the G6 level. So it'll be interesting to see him work in this offense. Then a guy on defense, defensive end Carter Johnke from Penn was very productive in the Ivy League, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. He's got a really good motor. Type of guy that Coach Bielema on that defense will really love.
All right. John, I'll start with you on key returning players. Is there anybody that you want to shout out? Key returning players.
I think Juice Clark would be one. In the back end, last year he had a really good year. Started the final 8 games of the 25 season. Missed the first 4, I think, due to an injury. He earned all Big Ten honorable mention. Had 29 tackles, 7 pass breakups. I really like Juice Clark.
And Bobby, is there anybody else that you want to add to that?
I like their running back combo of Aiden Lafferty and Khalil Valentine. They work really well together. I think it's a good combo of guys. They bring different things to the table, speed, power, and such. And in that offense, it's pretty run heavy. So those guys are utilized a lot. And I think a guy that not a lot of people nationally will talk about is tight end Christian Abney. I personally think he's the best blocking tight end in college football. And I think he's going to be drafted into the NFL just because of how great of a blocker he is. He was a former high school quarterback, so he's an amazing athlete. But he's just a guy that does a really, really good job. And then they have fantastic DBs here as well. They've had a really good history of that. So you can always count on Illinois having good guys on the back end of the defense.
All right, let's turn to the offense. Of course, they are replacing Altmaier. I think that's going to take a little bit of a hit, I think, on this team, Bobby. Offensively, what do you think this 2026 team is going to look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think initially they'll lean on those running backs, the 2 guys I mentioned, that they'll really utilize those guys. They're talented guys, and that they have a good offensive line. Illinois has been a team that wins games in the trenches on the offensive and defensive side recently over the past handful of years, and that's why they've been so productive. So I expect that to continue. Hauser's going to have to play at a good level for them to have the success that they are potentially able to have. But if he does so, this team could surprise some people.
John, anything you want to add on the offensive side?
He pretty much said what I was going to say.
All right, defense. I mean, what do you expect, John, on the defensive side of the ball?
I mean, you return Juice Clark, one of the top guys in the back end. Illinois is always physical. My question is the offense losing Altmaier. That's going to be a little loss there, but I think they'll be really good in the back end.
Is that where you think the strength is, Bobby?
Yeah, the back end of the defense for sure. Losing Gabe Yakis up front is a big hit. I mean, that kid was an All-American level type player. But so it'll be interesting to see how they kind of put. I think they'll be fine. They've recruited well, but at the same time, like whenever you lose a guy who's an elite player, there's going to be a bit of a drop off.
All right, let's take a look at the schedule that they have this year. They start out with UAB at home, Duke at home. I believe it's at home game. Southern Illinois is at home, and those are the first 3. And then the Big Ten schedule, they play at Ohio State, Purdue at home, at Michigan State, Oregon at home, at Maryland, Nebraska at home, at UCLA, home against Iowa, and then they end at Northwestern. Bobby, what do you see as a key game in that for them in that stretch?
Yeah, I put two. I think it's clear the two tough games at Ohio State and hosting Oregon. I think every other game on their schedule is a winnable game for this team. I really do. I mean, there's obviously going to be tested, but at the same time, like, where are they in comparison to the elite teams in this conference? I think we'll learn a lot in those two games in particular.
John, you have another key game. I'm into the Duke
Mm,
game.
no,
Their second game.
those are the two. I think beyond that, they're probably 8 wins possibly. So I think I want to give them 8-4.
That's what's next is our record prediction. John, you're going 8-4. All right,
I mean,
Bobby.
yeah.
What do you think is the record for Illinois this year?
I think eight and
Regular
four,
season.
9-3, right in there. 8-4, 9-3 is a really good spot for them. I think that they've built up to this with what they've done from a recruiting perspective and what they've built, the great coaching staff they have. I think you look at their schedule and it sets up to where they can win a good chunk of games.
I mean, when I agree when you look at their schedule. I mean, there may be a slip up at home versus Iowa. I mean, maybe. I mean, there could be a game or two here and there, but when you look at their schedule, I agree. Ohio State and Oregon are clearly the best two. There's no USC, there's no Michigan. When you look at the schedule, there's no Washington. There's some pluses on this schedule. Or 9-3 would be right where they've been. Win a bowl game, you're back to 9-4 like you was last year. So I think that'd be a pretty good spot for them. I know for their fans, they're probably hoping that they can make the college football playoff.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Like if those two losses they have are Ohio State and Oregon and they're close, there's a possibility.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to go to Indiana. Google me, he wins. Let's be honest. Signetti's been utterly amazing, to be honest with you, in 2 years in Indiana. There's really no other way around putting that, to be honest. When you look at the coach, I mean, golly, is there a better coach in America? Bobby? I mean, I'm being honest.
Right. I'm a former college basketball coach, and I admire what Kurt Signetti has done so much because of to win at Indiana. This is historically the worst power conference program in the country, and to do what he's done over the past 2 years, that alone tells me how great of a coach he is, and I'm going to say he's the best coach in the country right now. I'm not going to question him.
I mean, there's a few others. Don't get me wrong. I still think
Yeah,
Kirby Smart is actually better. But I'm just saying, if you look at the last 2 years, I think there's been a better coach the last 2 years.
I agree.
John, would you agree with that?
I would. And the thing, we're talking about transfers now. He went out and got Turbo Richard from Boston College, Kobe Martin, probably one of the 1-2 punch in the backfield. They get 6 starters from a defense that limited 11 points last year. Tyreek Tucker is one of their top interior linemen returning. They get 2 of the top linebackers in the country, and Elijah Hardy and Isaiah Jones to form a really good tandem. This team has another favorable path to a 12-0 record, Brad.
I mean, all that is true. Bobby, I'm going to ask you, talking about transfers here, I'm going to ask you about Hoover. After last year in Mendoza, do you expect Hoover to just step right in and act like there's no drop off at all and just Signetti's magic? I mean, because that's what it looks like.
I think he absolutely can. I think Fernando Mendoza just is a special type of guy to where he just willed teams. I don't know if Hoover's that type of guy, but he's been extremely productive at TCU while he was there. There's not many guys that were more productive than he was. So I could absolutely see him just plug and play almost in this team just continuing.
Too, Bobby, it don't hurt to have Charlie Becker coming back either.
That's true. He might be one of the most underrated players in the country.
Yeah, I mean, there's a key returning player right there for this team, and they have a lot of them, to be honest with you. I mean, I believe. So, I mean, you can throw out a few more names if you guys would like on the key returning players.
Well, and they got the Michigan State transfer, Nick Marsh. I mean, that's a really big one.
Yeah. Yeah, on the transfers. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
And then they just got those two defensive linemen back with the new ruling in Kalen Wyatt and Stephen Daly, who were significant pieces last year before injuries.
Right.
Well, and they get Jamari Sharp back. They get Amari Farrell, Byron Baldwin. I mean, that forms a really, really good secondary.
All right, let's take a look at the offense. I mean, golly, guys, the last 2 years, they've been pretty much unstoppable on the offense, it seems like. I mean, was it who they beat last year? Like 56-7. It was a drumming early in the year, and it was like, John, I remember telling you, like, what in the world? It was a good team. It wasn't like I forgot who it was now. Anyway,
2 years ago, I went and saw them play against Nebraska, and they did that against them, and it was like one of those things. It was just like, holy cow!
Yeah, I mean, just drumming people. I mean, is their running back room going to be as good as it has been?
That could be a question. I mean, they have those transfers coming in, but that definitely. I mean, they don't have the marquee guys, I'll say.
I'm going to be honest with you. I like this transfer class better than last year. And I say that because you got Turbo Richard. I think he's proved more than Roman Hemby. You got Nick Marsh. There's a lot of scouts pumped about him. Shaz Preston from Tulane is a big play threat on the college football playoff team. They got the Wisconsin's best offensive lineman in Joe Bruner. I mean, he seems to get exactly who he wants from the portal, and now that's even scarier to think about.
It is. Defense. I mean, they're been right there with all the defensive teams in these games as well, and playing some lights out defense. I mean, they drubbed Oregon in Oregon's got a lights out offense in the college football playoff. Bobby, do you look for more of the same on the defensive side of the ball?
I do. I think that they've just become a machine. I really do. The back end of that defense is so impressive to me. Their secondary coach, Rod Ojong, is a former high school teammate of mine. So I love that back end of that defense.
John, defensive wise, do you think they're going to be a juggernaut?
I do. I really do. I mentioned 3 of their guys from the secondary, and I think they're just going to be where they are like they was again last year. You got Hardy in the middle that forms that tandem with those 2 linebackers I was talking about a minute ago. They've proven themselves in the trenches. Now, their defensive line was hit a little bit hard, and they'll definitely need some of those transfer guys to kind of click early on in the year with how important they rush the football, and they need to get good line play. But until Cignetti lands some duds in the transfers, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt. He won the national championship last year. It's theirs to lose again. So basically, it's Indiana or nothing. So let's
Let's take a
let's see
look at their
what
schedule. You was
happens
talking
again this
about
year.
you was talking about like give them a little bit of time because of their schedule. I mean, honestly, the start of their schedule is pretty easy, to be honest. Um, I mean, North Texas, they play Howard, and they play Western
Mhm.
Kentucky. That's their first three. Um, I don't even see this doesn't even list the 25th game on September 25th. It doesn't have an opponent on it. What I got. Anyway, they play at
Northwestern.
Rutgers on the third. Northwestern. Okay, sorry. On the third, they play at Rutgers, at Nebraska, home against Ohio State, Michigan on the road, Minnesota at home, USC at home, at Washington, and then they finish Purdue at home. There is a little bit of a rough patch in there about mid-season, 6, 7 games in for about 4 games. What do you guys think?
I think the Ohio State game and the USC game coming to Bloomington is a plus for them. But that's a good one. Um, one of those are going to be a loss, in my opinion. But you got to win the other one, basically. They have a favorable path, like I said, to a perfect 12-0 record in the regular season. I do think they'll lose to Ohio State. Ohio State lost to them last year. I think Ohio State's going to come into that game improved and get some revenge on them. And I think they win that game. Now, I do think they'll beat USC. I think they'll be 12-1. But I'm going to say this, Bobby. Indiana has not had a raucous crowd in so long that when you watch this Ohio State game, you're going to think, what in the living twilight zone am I watching with this fan base? It's going to be something to behold because they haven't had a really big. They've had a few opponents here and there come into Indiana and play, but they're not going to have a team like Ohio State come on the road in that kind of environment that they've not had in quite a while, and it's going to be fun to watch on national television.
All right, John, I got to put you on hold, man. We got a bunch of teams to get to, but key game, Bobby. What do you think? Besides Ohio State, they do have. I mean, uh, there's a couple of games in there that I think is a little tougher than maybe last year.
I think going to Michigan will be really interesting. I don't think they've won there since the '60s.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think that's going to be playing in the big house is going to be a lot tougher place than people are thinking right now. Record, Bobby. What do you think they're going to win the season?
I'm gonna go 12-0. I'm not questioning Coach Signetti.
All right, John.
12-1. 12-1. I think they lose to Ohio State.
Well, that would be 11-1 regular season if
Well,
that's
11-1.
the way it
They'll
is.
be 11-1 then.
Man, I mean, look, I was against this team. I just wasn't. It's not against them. I just don't believe. And then they did what they did last year, and they made me. I'm not sitting here and act like they didn't. They absolutely did. Down the stretch of the season, I just look at this schedule and I see at Nebraska, I see home Ohio State, at Michigan. Then they got to play Minnesota, which is a sneaky Big Ten team here, I believe. Then they play USC. Then they play at Washington. I mean, there's about a 5 week portion of that schedule that I can see them taking a loss or two, to be honest with you. Um, I I'm gonna say they. I hate to say it, but I think I'm gonna say 10-2. They do make the playoffs, but I am gonna say 10-2 on this one. I believe, which according to Bobby is wrong.
Well, the schedule's significantly harder this year than last year.
All right, we're going to go to Iowa. We're going to get to Iowa, and I got a little thing here. In the playoff era, in the college football playoff era, no Power 4 team has more wins than Iowa that has not made the college football playoff. So their coach is in his 28th year, I believe, if that's right. Bobby, he's still clicking.
It's pretty impressive what Kirk Ferentz has done. I mean, to do have the longevity he's had is quite impressive.
It is. I think it's super impressive. In my opinion, 20 and like it's not easy. Even 10 years is not easy at a place, and 28 years is insane to be able to keep the winning. I mean, all he does is win every year, 8, 9, 10 games. I mean, every single year.
What's impressive to me is Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator, how he's made those units so good.
We'll definitely get to that because I mean I agree with you. That's been their calling card is their defense. To be honest with you, impact transfers, Bobby. Do they have any transfers that we need to pay attention to?
This isn't a team that usually gets transfers as like impact guys, but they have a couple safeties this year. Tyler Brown from JMU and Anthony Hawkins from Villanova that will play big roles.
Okay. Key returners, John. Who you got as key returners for this Iowa?
Kamari Moulton, the running back. I think he's going to be really good. Xavier Williams returns. He's going to get one of the most exciting FCS backs in Lyndon Phillips Jr. I think he had 19 touchdowns at South Dakota. They got Cade Piper, third team all conference tackle. Trevor Locke are the only starters returning up front. They might have their best tight end in the country. DJ Vonamy, I think he averaged like 15 yards a catch last year. Now, he wasn't used a lot like Eli Stowers and some of those guys, but he was very efficient last year. So, like Bobby said, they don't really go after a lot of transfer guys. They usually play from within and recruit really well. So, it'll be interesting to see how this offense takes off.
Looks like Bobby may be having an issue. Maybe he's coming back. There he is. All right. Offensive outlook on this Iowa team. That's been their Achilles heel for quite some time. They're great on defense. They do a few things on offense, Bobby. They usually have a very good offensive line. They have a very good tight end most of the time. There are a few things that they do well, even on offense.
Absolutely. They just need to get better skill position guys. That's been the question for quite some time there.
Yeah.
They've done a good job with running the ball with great offensive linemen, but they just got to keep building that.
And they've had some good tight end play.
Yeah, they have. And, they lost their top 4 wide receivers, and he's going to ask a lot from some guys in the FCS. Tony Diaz, he was a former Kentucky target. Evan James from Furman, Reese Vander Zee. So they're going to have to get some communication with those guys early if they're going to win some of these games.
Defense, Bobby, is it going to be more of the same? Are they going to be in the top 20 like every year, it seems?
Every year. They are what they are. They're a machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they really are. John, anything to add on the defensive end?
No, I mean, Jaden Montgomery is experienced linebacker. Bryce Hawthorne Zach Lutmere is one of the better nickelbacks. But the talent last year is going to be kind of off kilter a little bit. They lost quite a bit, and they had to go through the transfer portal. They got 9 guys, brought in 8 for the defense. Tyler Brown from James Madison, Lantin Gold from Northern Illinois, Kamari Brown from Elon. So they're going to have to depend on a bunch of FCS guys and some group of 5 guys to kind of disrupt that defense. And I wouldn't put it past Phil Parker. He's one of the top coordinators in the country.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a quick look at their schedule this year. They start off with Northern Illinois. Then they play their rival game in week 2 versus Iowa State at home. Northern Iowa at home. They play at Michigan in week 4. Ohio State comes for a home game on Thursday.
Can you hear Brad? Bobby? He was.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. I'm having a really bad echo. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. All right, how's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. The back half of their schedule looks a little easier than the front half to me. So, what do you think was a key game here?
I think their game at Michigan is the key because I think that's a comparable game between both programs. I think they're both kind of close to the same level this year. So it'll be interesting to see where they're at.
I think that is probably their key game on their schedule. There is at Michigan in week 4. To be honest with you, of course the Iowa State game. John, record prediction here for Iowa.
I'm probably going to go 8-4 with them. There's some tough games there on the road. Now they do get Ohio State, like you said, at home, and I think a couple years back or a few years back they beat Ohio State at home. That's another game that they can get up for. But I think the transition of the defense is what worries me, especially losing some guys to the draft and especially through the portal. So hopefully the defense can kind of get back to where they need to be. But I think they'll win 8.
All right, Bobby, what do you got on Iowa? How many wins?
I agree. 8-4 is where I see him as well.
I mean, that's pretty much where I have them as 8-4. I think they could get to 9-3 if they can, come up with maybe one more win, maybe Illinois or the Michigan game or something like that. I think 9-3 is kind of their ceiling, to be honest with you. All right, we are going to move on from Iowa, and the next one is Maryland, I believe. Yep, Maryland is next. We're going to get to the Terps. They started off really good with their coach a few years back. They've kind of run into some rough roads. What do you think on the coach outlook, Bobby?
I think this is a make or break year for Mike Loxley. I really do.
I mean, I agree with that. He's had a pretty couple of rough years. So, if it's a make or break year, did they get any impactful transfers?
We got a couple wide receivers in Chris Durr Jr. from Wyoming and Naheem Abdul-Rahim from Old Dominion that could be impact guys.
Yeah, and they got Chris Durr from Wyoming. John? Oh, yeah, you said that. Preston Howard from Auburn, the tight end. He also hired Clint Trickett. He coached at Marshall and Jacksonville State, offensive coordinator. To me, I like Durr. He's got good hands. if DeJuan Williams can develop, he had a tough first year. I think their skilled positions can improve. They do get Malik Washington at quarterback. He handed him the keys last year. Like Lockley was very brave in that. So let's see where it goes.
All right. Speaking of that, offensively, what do you expect to see in a returner like that?
It, it was a lot of learning, a lot of development, Brad. They was coming off a 4-8 season in 24. They had a collapsing of a year at the end. That was a development year, I felt like, for Washington. So maybe it pays off. Maryland heads into this season second in the nation in returning production. So we'll see. And I felt like, Washington had some struggles last year. He started 7 games last year. He was brilliant at avoiding sacks. I think he was the fewest sacks among quarterbacks. So let's see what he does, and I'm like him. I think this is Loxley's prove-it year. He's been there 8 years. He's 37 and 49 overall. If you have another year where you don't make a bowl game, I think you got to think about changes.
Defense, Bobby, where do you think they're going to land in the Big Ten, even on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, they have a lot of returning production, so I think that's beneficial. But at the same time, like they had a lot of young guys playing last year, so they need that development to continue.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, we're going to go through the schedule rundown here on Maryland. I do agree with you. This is probably a make or break year for Loxley at Maryland here. They start off with Hampton. They play at UConn, Bobby, in the second week. Had to throw that one in there. Virginia, Virginia at home, UCLA at home, at Nebraska. They go at Ohio State, Rutgers at home, open date, Illinois at home, at Purdue, Wisconsin at home, at USC, with Penn State at home. There's some pretty rough games in there.
I'll be honest with you.
Key game.
Looking at that schedule, it's actually winnable early. But then you get into the Big Ten schedule, and it's like, whoa, okay. You got Ohio State. You got an improved Rutgers team that's going to be really, really good. So I'm going to go – I don't know. I think the UCLA game's pretty big because if you can win that UCLA game,
that's what I think is a key game on the schedules. That
you win that game, you got a chance to get to a bowl.
Yeah, I think it's the UCLA game at home. To be honest,
I think it is. Yeah.
Bobby, I almost threw in the UConn game in week 2 just because. Is there a chance that there's an upset there? And you don't have to answer that, but I'm pretty sure I know where your mind's going to be on it. Bobby's a UConn. He covers UConn and he's a big UConn fan, by the way. So
believe it or not, UConn will be much improved this year.
That's why I was kind of throwing the little jokes at Bobby with UConn. But give me your key game, Bobby, with Maryland and your record prediction.
Slightly biased, but I do think that UConn game is important.
It is.
Because I think they need to get off to a good start.
Yeah.
If they beat them, and then if they
it's
beat
on the road
Virginia
too.
Tech,
They play at UConn too. So yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm going to go 6 wins, but I say this: is that enough for Loxley to stay?
Getting to a bowl, he probably will if he does get to 6. However, I'm going to say 5-7. What do you say, Bobby?
Same 5-7.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with him, unfortunately. And if he does go 5-7, I think there's a chance that he is not back. He does not.
It's hard to believe. It's actually hard to believe he's been there 8 years.
This is true. It is kind of hard to believe.
It don't seem that long. No.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we're going to get to Michigan. Michigan, of course, has a new coach, and they went out and got a good one. Let's have a really good run at Utah. Kyle Whittingham is there. Both of you, just a quick little bit on Kyle Whittingham because he's been a tremendous coach.
Really good coach.
For 2 decades.
He began, most don't know this, he began his coaching career as a BYU assistant, graduate assistant. He's coached 4 schools based in Utah and Idaho. That's it. He spent his whole 2 decades as Utah's head coach. They was in the Pac-12, then the Big 12. He led them to 2, I think, AP top 10 finishes, 8 win seasons. His defenses were elite. His offenses were usually efficient. They had Brad's favorite player at one time, Cam Rising. And he looked like he was going to retire, and he ends up in the lap of the Michigan Wolverines. So, hey, I like Kyle Whittingham. I think he's a top-notch coach, and I think Michigan's done really well by bringing him in.
Bobby, how many years do you think he has left? He's up there a little bit. He's not old by any means, but there was talk about him retiring last year. Michigan talked him into coming. How many years do you think he gives the Wolverines here?
That's an interesting question. If I had to say, I'd probably say five, 10 years tops.
I say 5, really, to be honest with you. That would be my guess. All right, top 3 impact transfers. He did bring about 5 or 6 guys with him from Utah.
He did. J.J. Buchanan was one of those young transfers. They got Jamie French from Texas. Saucy Moa, the running back. There's potential here. But everybody, is going to look at the quarterback position, to be honest. Bryce Underwood. How's that going to work? And they brought Jason Beck in as the offensive coordinator. He turned Devin Dampier into one of the top running quarterbacks in the country. So I'm interested to see how he improves that offense with Bryce Underwood.
Bobby, any more transfers, or are you ready to go to key returning?
John Henry Daly, a defensive end, is a huge impact guy from Utah.
Yeah, they definitely brought a couple of guys in from Utah that I think – of course, key returners, we're going to start with a quarterback, I'm pretty sure, Bobby.
Absolutely. I think Bryce Underwood is he's got all the talent in the world. There's no doubt about it. Can he be Jaden Daniels? He's got that type of ability.
Yeah, he's got the running capabilities. His arm, to me, is a little limited. But at the same time, I think, he showed moments last year where he could really do good with his arm. So
you could see a place where you see a big second-year jump here. I mean, let's be honest. There could be. Offensively, I think the offense basically is going to matter what he does, to be honest with you, Bryce Underwood. And then I'll just move on because I think that's going to be the key there for the offense. Defensively, though, Whittingham's been fantastic, Bobby, at Utah all these years as a defensive guy in a high-powered offensive league out of the Pac, or out of when they were in the Pac-12. He still ran a high-powered, great defense. Do you think he makes that big of a difference here for Michigan?
Well, I think that this team's just going to be coached so much better all around, offensively, defensively, compared to last season. That I think it's going to play a big role in how much this team improves.
Yeah, and they bring back Trey Pierce, Troy Bowles. They got Jair Hill, Zeke Perry, and they got, like you said, tons of transfers. They got 3 from Utah. They got Chris Bracey from Memphis. He could play a big role. Then they got a whole group, like you were talking about offensively, of carryover from last year's unit that's going to have to click under Whittingham. So I like this Michigan team. It's just going to be interesting to see how Whittingham brings that from Utah to Michigan to a bigger conference.
All right, let's look at their schedule. They start off with Western Michigan. The big game week 2 is Oklahoma. Then they play UTEP at home, Iowa at home, Minnesota, Penn State at home, Indiana at home,
They get a lot
at
of home games.
Rutgers. Yeah, at Rutgers, Michigan State at home, Oregon on the road, UCLA at home, and then they end at Ohio State. Man, Bobby, there's some tough games up in there that I just said.
I think the key game. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
I think anywhere between 8-4 and 10-2 is a possibility.
Yeah, and I think the key game is Oklahoma, because when you look at that game right out of the gate, both of those teams are kind of the dark horse of college football this year. And one of those is going to have a loss real early. And I don't think Oklahoma can afford that loss with their schedule in the SEC. So I think Oklahoma's going to have to go on the road and win that game. But as far as Michigan, I don't think if they lose that game, I don't think they're really in bad waters, because they got a decent schedule up until Penn State. But I do think for both of those teams, it's really, really big.
Then they go on the road at Oregon and Ohio State. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
That's pretty tough.
It's tough, but it's at the end of the year. Oklahoma has a tougher schedule starting out early compared to where Michigan has a tough schedule going out the door. But I think that's the key game. And like you said, it's 8-4, 10-2 for me. And
Dave
Dave brought up a good point. They was really young last year. So hopefully they can gel as a team and kind of go from a year 1 leap to a year 2 leap.
All right. I do believe the Oklahoma game is a key game here, guys. Bobby, I'll start with you. What's your record prediction for this Michigan team?
I'll say 9-3 right in the middle.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. 9-3. That's.
I mean, look, if he can go 9-3 with this schedule, Oklahoma, I mean, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Indiana, I mean, I think that's an absolute great
for
job. I think 8-4 might catch them in the first year here, to be honest with you.
For Whittingham, getting Oklahoma at home is a big deal too. So
especially if they lose that Oklahoma game early in the year, if they can win that game, I'll give them 9-3. But I agree with you, John. I think it's going to be super important for Oklahoma to come in there and to win that.
Well, and I say that, Bobby, I know we're talking about Big Ten, but if you look at Oklahoma's schedule, they got Texas. They play, I think, Tennessee. Like you can't afford to drop that game on the road right early, because if you do, you're basically going to be looking at a 7-4, 7-5 season again. And you win that game, you set yourself up pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it's almost a must-win game for Oklahoma.
Yeah, at home for sure. I agree with you. All right, Michigan State. Let's go to the Spartans here, Bobby. Coach outlook. What's your first thoughts here?
Well, Pat Fitzgerald ended his tenure at Northwestern very poorly. So I wonder if that was more of an issue with Northwestern or with him.
I think it's a strange hire, to be honest with you. I was flabbergasted by it, to be honest with you. I just thought it was an absolute strange hire after the way his tenure ended. At Northwestern.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Jonathan Smith was fired in 2 years, Bobby. They replaced him the very next day. Like, I didn't understand a lot of this high. Like, I get it. Pat Fitzgerald, he done some really good things for Northwestern. He's still a pretty young guy. And he's probably forgot how to coach more than anybody of us. But with very little success recently and with so much, change in the landscape of college football, I feel like I would need him to kind of prove himself at another level before handing the keys to a team like Penn State. I think, State
there
is
was a whole scandal. There was a whole scandal around him. The way it ended, it didn't. I mean, he had a few decent teams at Northwestern, but I mean, 500 record is right around. He's a few games above 500, I believe, overall.
I just think it's a risk, but I do like what they added. I do. There's some really good pieces here to be good.
All right, impactful transfers. Aiden Childs.
They added one that Bobby. They added Cam Edwards, the running from UConn, which was a big piece for them. They got Trent Fraley from North Dakota State, center. They got Ben Murrell-Whiskey. I think he's another UConn guy. Mm-hmm. So he added a lot of guys up front. Defensive-wise, he got Trey Bell from Iowa State, Michael Richards from Louisiana Tech. Depth to me is going to be an issue for the Spartans, though, for this team. I think against good teams, the depth is just not there for them to compete.
Key returning players, or if you want to talk about Cam from UConn for a second, Bobby, you can.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, Cam was really good for UConn.
He was. That's a big loss for us. And Ben Borowski, I think, is an NFL level offensive lineman. He's a road grader. But I agree that the depth just isn't really there for this team.
And then they,
offense, defense, just real quick, do you think Fitzgerald is going to make a huge difference here in year one with this Michigan State team, either one of you?
Nick Sheridan as the offensive coordinator hire was an interesting hire, I thought, too.
This is true. I agree with that as well.
By the way, Brad, Aiden Childs transferred to Northwestern. Mm-hmm. You said Childs?
Oh, he did?
Yeah, okay. He transferred to Northwestern, yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, then. Childs didn't transfer it in there last year?
Last
year he transferred.
I believe it was he played for Oregon State at one point, and then he played for
these transfers. State, they transfer every year. It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it is. To be honest.
All right, Michigan State's schedule. They start off with Toledo at home, Eastern Michigan at home. Then they go at Notre Dame in week 3, which I think is a big one. Would be one of my keys. Nebraska at home, at Wisconsin. Illinois at home, Northwestern at home, at UCLA, open date, at Michigan, Washington at home, Oregon at home, and at Rutgers. I will say this, most of their tough games are at home, at least.
Yeah, they play Notre Dame really early.
Yeah.
I'm going to think, I don't know, Brad. I think you got to look at that Notre Dame game early. I think it's a key game. I don't really think there's really a key game on this schedule. I think you're just wanting to see improvement from a Michigan State fan point of view. And if you get that improvement, say 4-8, 5-7, like, are you happy with that first year?
I've got them at 4-8, Bobby. I don't know what you got, but I think 4-8.
That's where I'm at, 4-8. I got them at 4-8.
Yeah, me too. I think that the seed development throughout the season is going to be key for this team.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 year deal here, and John's already brought up they fired Smith in 2 years. So, are they going to give him that kind of time?
It was quick.
I mean, are they going to give Fitzgerald that kind of time for real? I mean, if he's 4-8 back-to-back years,
I mean,
gone?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I'll make it quick. Michigan State, if you look at them in the past, they've been a really, really consistent program. From Kirk Cousins was there. They had Jeff Schmoker. They had some really good quarterbacks at one point. And Michigan State was always a really good, consistent team every single year. And seeing them go down from where they are from the 2020 teams going down into this year, it kind of makes me think, who's really going to coach there, and who's really going to be able to turn that program around, because that's a really good program there. And let's hope Pat Fitzgerald's that guy.
All right, Bobby, we're going to move on to Minnesota. My question to you, when it comes to Minnesota, right off the bat, and about PJ Fleck, has he peaked already, do you think?
I think he might have. I think that this team is kind of who they are.
I mean, look, in my opinion, he's been one of the most consistent coaches in the Big Ten over the last 5-6 years, John.
Yes.
But here's the deal: they're consistently that 7 or 8 win team somewhere around.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, with Minnesota, you're going to play physical. They're going to have good and pretty decent defenses. They're probably going to win more games than they lose. And, sometimes their offense backfires on them at times. I think they've scored 14, I think a stat I read, 14 or fewer offensive points and 22 have flexed 44 losses. So that's not good. That includes last year's. They haven't had a top 50 offense, I think, since 2020. So there has to be some, jumps this year, I think, for Fleck, if you really want to look at it from that point of view.
Bobby, any impactful transfers on this Minnesota team? I know they have a lot of returning players, but any impactful transfers?
T.J. Bush Jr. from Cal will play a big role off the edge. And then Noah Jennings at wide receiver from Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. I also like them getting Perry Thompson from Auburn. They got him, and they got Bennett Warren from Tennessee.
That's a good receiver to pick up. Perry Thompson was.
Yeah, Perry was really good for Auburn last year.
Yeah.
All
right, returning players. I mean, I want to say this: they're one of the top. They have one of the top returning production from a year ago in the country.
Yeah, really, really, really good defense coming back. John Nestor, Kerry Brown, Anthony Smith. Then they added Mekhi Smith from Lehigh, Parker Knudsen from Southwest Minnesota State. Now, Bobby will probably tell you their biggest loss was Koa Perich. I think I butchered his name, but anyways, losing him was a really big loss. I felt like if they kept him, that back defense would probably be even better than what they are.
I agree, and their quarterback, Drake Lindsey, is very consistent. And I think the running back, Darius Taylor, could make a jump. If he can get up to, say, 1,500 yards of total offensive yardage, this offense will take a jump.
I mean, I think if they can make a jump, I think this team could be a slight bit better than they were last year. And on the defensive side of the ball, John, I mean, we've already discussed it, already talked about it. I mean, they bring back a ton of production on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, the thing is, it's probably going to be one of their top 25 defenses they've had under Fleck. I think it'll get them to another ball game, to be honest. But I feel like if Drake Lindsey doesn't improve and kind of make that jump, it's going to keep that ceiling a little low, I think. Because with the defense as good as it is, the offense has got to make some plays, and the offense got to score some points. So I'm looking at it from 6 wins total when we get there. I just think that's where we are with Minnesota. I mean, that's just what you're going to get every single year. So,
all right, Schedule rundown for the Gophers. They start off with Eastern Illinois. They do get Mississippi State at home. Interesting game there in week 2.
That's the big one.
Akron at home, at Washington, Michigan at home, at Purdue, open date. Then they play Iowa at home, at Indiana, UCLA at home, at Penn State, Northwestern at home, and they end the season at Wisconsin. Bobby, is it that Mississippi State game? Is that the key game there?
Has to be. I'm guessing.
Mississippi State at Wisconsin or at Washington. Those two games are the ones that stick out to me.
Yeah. I mean, you get Mississippi State at home in week 2.
I think you win that game.
You've got all these returning players and production. It's not a game you can afford to lose, if you ask me.
No, I mean, if you win that game, you're probably looking at a bowl. If you lose that game, you're thinking, oh, I got to win one of UCLA, Wisconsin. I got to win one of those games that, a team that struggled last year could be better this year. So, from a Minnesota standpoint, you got to win that game at home.
I mean, John, you already said 6-6. Bobby, what do you think the Gophers go this year with PJ Fleck in the 2016?
I'm gonna say 7-5 with the 70% of their team back.
Yeah, that's where I got them as 7-5, and if they win the bowl game, I think that puts them maybe right back where they were last year. I think something like that, if I remember right. And they are consistent. I mean, honestly, Fleck has been consistent there, and they win. Like I said to start with here, we may have seen the peak already. All right, the next one is Nebraska, and gosh, Matt Rule. I mean, really, are we going to see an improvement here, or is it going to be kind of more of the same? He's got them. Look, he's got them back to the bowl. Like they were worse than what they have been. He has got them back to bowl eligibility. They are in that running now, but that's not where Nebraska, like, history should be. It seems like.
Well, things aren't going as bad as everybody seems to think. You had 2 straight winning years after 9 straight sub 500 years is solid. But I feel like, Bobby, I'll let you kind of run off of this. That Rule enters year 4. I feel like with some kind of movement that he needs to go to that next level. Dana Holgerson, I feel like, has made that offense a lot of fun. They lost Dylan Raiola, which was a big plus.
Which
Calandria.
could hurt here. I mean,
they got Anthony Calandria from UNLV, one of the top quarterbacks in the portal. So it's interesting to see how Rule can guide Nebraska up that ladder, because he did the same thing at Baylor. So we'll see. And the culture isn't what it used to be. It's a lot better. So I think Nebraska has only to go up. To anywhere up is to go up. So I'll let you kind of back off that, Bobby.
I think the fan base needs to be realistic, though, and understand that it's not going to be what it used to be.
Well, Tommy Frazier's not walking through that door. I mean, let's be honest. So
you don't need to worry about Tommy Frazier. They need Tom Osborne. That's what they need. I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't think it's a make or break year, but I think that it's a big year. It's a big year.
Well, and Calandria is a really big impact transfer. He's very scramble heavy. He doesn't take a lot of sacks. To me, he was a far better player than Dylan Raiola, and he was in a conference with probably worse defenses in the Big Ten. So I think you'll see a very big improvement at the quarterback position. That, to me, was the main guy. They had to have a quarterback, I felt like, to make this offense run right.
Is there any key returning players, Bobby, that you want to talk about here?
Vincent Shavers Jr. at linebacker is a good player. They got some good receivers that are quick, but it's not like a roster that pops off to you.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I agree with you on that as well. I mean, look, like I said, he's got them to a certain level. I just don't see the. It doesn't pop off where it looks like, okay, they're going to continue to climb. It kind of looks like they're like evened out a little bit to me. Offensively, y'all talked about the quarterback here, even though Raiola left.
Well, this is going to be a good team, Brad, but unless Calandra has a Heisman year, I think you're looking at another team like Nebraska had a year ago, or even 24. I mean,
Well, let me ask Bobby about the defensive side of the ball here. The one thing that, in my opinion, that Rule has not really fixed is the defensive side of the ball.
He brought in some guys that could be impact players on the defensive line via the transfer portal. But you're right. They just have not taken that step that you think they would under Matt Rule.
Nope. That's where I think he slipped a little bit, is the defensive side of the ball at Nebraska. The offense is a little better, and he's got them to that certain level, but the defense has just not been stellar. Do you think this team can be any better or no?
Personally, I'm not as high on this team. I think that they could slip and not make a bowl this year.
If that happens, Rule, and after year 4, I mean, he could be in trouble. Nebraska fans are not the most patient, to be honest with you. And if that happens, I think he could be in trouble, to be honest with you. And I'm sitting here looking. I think, Bobby, do you have their schedule real quick? Because I don't think I have a clip of it. I thought I did, but I don't.
I don't have it off the top.
Hey, I'll get it real quick.
It's harder than what you would think it is, though.
They play Ohio at home, Bowling Green at home.
Yeah, go ahead.
They play North Dakota at home, Michigan State, Maryland. Oh, no, it's at Michigan State, then home against Maryland versus Indiana at home, at Oregon, home against Washington, at Illinois, at Rutgers, Ohio State at home, and at Iowa.
All right, key games in there. Do you see any that you think could be, wow, that's a game they absolutely need to win? I think it might be the Indiana game.
Yeah, because if you win the first 5, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, the first 4 or 5. I mean, could this team be 5-0
going into the Indiana game? Yeah,
maybe
it's possible. So,
yeah,
I think I'm going to go with 6 wins, Brad. I think after those Maryland games, it gets really difficult. Indiana, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, even Rutgers is going to be improved. I think it's just a tough road down the last part of the schedule.
All right, Bobby, what do you think on the prediction here for Nebraska?
I think the Rutgers game could be whoever wins that game gets bowl eligible. I think Nebraska's going to go 5-7.
I mean, okay, I do have them at 6-6. I'm just not sure that that's enough for Nebraska fans, to be honest with you. I think he's gonna get stale out there in Lincoln. I really do. I just have a feeling here that if they go 5-7 or 6-6. Rule may be looking for another job next year.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to Northwestern. Northwestern, of course. Um, let's talk about their coach hire. Bobby, what do you think about it?
Well, David Braun's a good coach. He's won there. He's back again. So I mean, he's won some games there. He's built a consistent little base there. And I think that they have some really key pieces back that are really going to help them have success.
All right. John?
Plus, that new stadium will help.
Well, and to be fair, last year was probably their best, I guess, in 5 years. They was really good at special teams. They was top 30 in defense. They hired Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. They brought in Aiden Childs, the Big Ten experienced quarterback from Michigan State. Their defense is kind of what worries me a little bit. They added a couple, from the FBS. They're going from Lake Michigan to Ryan Field. Wild times. So we'll see. I like this Northwestern team. I think they could be really, really good. Just depends on how the schedule kind of slimes out.
Impactful transfers. Do you see any impactful transfers on this team, Bobby?
I think Aiden Childs, a quarterback, and Chip Kelly together is a great combination.
I mean, I forgot about Chip Kelly going there. That's crazy to me.
Gavin Sawchuk from Florida State. He's real physical.
Mm-hmm.
He added a few linemen. Alex Honig from UConn. That was a big plus for them. UConn lost a lot of people to the portal. Let's be honest; they lost quite a bit. So
kind of what
70 new players.
Yeah. So the offense, I feel like, is going to be really, really good. They should have a strong unit. The depth is probably going to be limited a little bit. Only 6 of their 15 guys with 200 plus snaps return. So be interesting to see what Chip Kelly and this group does.
Key returners, Bobby. You want to add anybody here that you think will be a key returner on defensive side or anywhere?
I think there's 3 guys here. Running back Caleb Pomalafe is very good. Wide receiver Griffin Wilde is an All Big Ten player. And then safety Robert Fitzgerald is also an All Big Ten player.
Yeah, I think on the defense there's a couple of key returners for sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The defense, they I think only 6 of 15 was 200 plus snaps return. But the 6 that do return are really, really good. Josh Fussell, Robert, like you said, Robert Fitzgerald, Braden Turner's really good. They got Kobe McKenzie from Oklahoma. So I feel like the defense is going to be pretty good.
Bobby, I had almost completely forgot about Chip Kelly going out there to Northwestern. You pair him with Aiden Childs, and they do have the makings of possibly a decent offense on this team.
Well, the schedule don't look great.
I'm just talking about the offense itself, though. There's definitely some upgrades.
They are.
Yeah, I think it's a match made in heaven. I really do. I think that they're just great. I think that it'll be really good, those two working together.
Defensive side, we've kind of hit on that.
And I think too, Brad, from a point, Chip Kelly, there's not a lot of pressure here. He had pressure at Oregon. He had pressure at UCLA. There's not a lot of pressure at Northwestern, and he can just kind of be laid back and do his thing. That's what I love about this hire is he's not in a situation where the fans are going to just run him out of town. They'll give him time to kind of develop what he wants to do offensively.
Maybe. Talking about running him out of town. All right, let's do the schedule rundown here, guys. South Dakota State is who they start out with. They have an open date in week 2, which is a little strange if you ask me.
Strange, yeah.
Colorado at home, in week 3 that I think is going to be a big game for both teams. At Indiana in week 4, Penn State at home, Ball State at home, at Michigan, Rutgers at home, at Oregon,
That's what I said.
Iowa at home, at Ohio State, at Minnesota, and then the end home with Illinois. Key game is it the Colorado game?
Yeah, I think. I mean, because if you lose that game, then where are you really going to win it? You go on the road to Michigan, play Oregon, Ohio. I mean, it's not easy withstand a schedule of that nature. So
No.
They play almost every Big Ten front runner.
Yep.
everyone.
Yep.
Well, about almost everyone. So.
All right. So if they got that rough of a schedule, what's y'all's record predictions here for
As much as I hate to say it, and as much as I know Northwestern's going to be improved, I'm still going to go 4-8. I just think 4-8 is the ceiling for this team.
Bobby?
I think 6-6, 7-5. I think that they're just well coached, and I think they find ways to win the games that they need to win.
I mean, I could see a path to 6-6 for this team. I'm going to go in the middle, though. I think they go 5-7 is where I'm going to go with them. I think that's where I'm going to pick them this time. I do agree that the offense is going to be much improved, and I think the team will be well. So I'm trying to scroll and get down to where I need to be now. So we're way down the list. So, all right, we're going to Ohio State, guys. We finally get to one of the big teams here. Of course, Coach Outlook, Ryan Day, I mean, he's one of the best. I don't think anybody would have anything bad to say about Ryan Day, to be quite honest with you. I think most of us would take Ryan Day at our school, to be honest.
The first 12 games last year, you can ask Bobby. They was basically nobody could beat them. And, you had the Julian Sayin, Arch Manning game, the 14-7 win over Texas, and they just started everybody to death, winning 11 games by average of seemed like 40-0 every single game. And then they hit a spot late in the year. They just could not do anything. They scored 24 points against Indiana and Miami. They was very conservative at times. They let his conservative play calling and things get in the way. And they just never was the same Ohio State team. So does Day have a re-energized team for this year, Bobby? And does he make a run? Because last year it was basically he made a run and then the season just kind of went off the training wheels.
I mean, Bobby, you can talk about Day, and we all know they have a bunch of key returning players. Is there any impact transfers here that's actually going to help this team?
I think the hire of Arthur Smith at offensive coordinator would be interesting too. State defensive back Earl Little Jr. from Florida State will be interesting to watch too. I think he'll play a big role on the back end.
I'm kind of ready to see.
I would think it would kind of be hard to transfer to Ohio State and get playing time, to be honest. Like, that would not be a school, unless you are just elite, that would not be a school that I think you would want to transfer to, in my opinion.
Russell was a big one for them from Alabama. He was a big plus for Alabama last year. I think he's going to be a big plus to that defense. And they got Terry Moore in the back end from Duke. He was another one that could be really good. Christian Aladero from Wisconsin was another one. So, it's not dropped off. There's going to be new stars come in. They got the biggest one was Chris Henry Jr. I love him as a freshman. I think that kid could play right away. And Brad's favorite, Jeremiah the Bullfrog Smith. I love Jeremiah. I think he's the best wide receiver in college football.
I don't
everybody's
know.
going to point to
Coleman
other players.
yesterday made a
Sam
statement.
Coleman's pretty good, but I don't think he's done what Jeremiah Smith has done at the college level.
He hasn't yet. He hasn't.
Jeremiah Smith might be the best player in college football.
This is true. I want to ask you about Julian Saying, though. Bobby, key returning player here, just a quick little thing. I mean, there's talk that he might be one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the country. Do you think he's ready for that level?
The question I have with him is he needs to develop still as a pocket passer. He's very good in improvisation and getting out of the pocket and stuff, but I think he still has to develop as a pocket passer.
I mean, I'm just not sure I'm ready to anoint him a top 5 QB in the country. He's going to be really good.
Well, to be fair, look what he's got around him at wide receiver. I mean, if you got that in your arsenal,
you got to get him the ball. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, as good as he is, you got to get him the ball. I mean,
yeah, I agree with you. And now they got Bo Jackson. No, not Bo Jackson from Auburn. They got Bo Jackson.
Football.
One of the nation's best backs. He was really good at the end of the year last year. He's got a good line in front of him, 3 starters back. Luke Montgomery is back, all 10 big performer guard. And like I said, he's got Jeremiah Smith. This will probably be his last dance in Columbus.
There's no way he's returning. Not a chance.
So if they're going to go out with a bang, they got the team to do it again this year. So we'll find out if they can take down Indiana and kind of get back on, on the top level again.
All right. We talked a little bit about the offense here with Jeremiah and Julian Saying. Let's go to the defense. I mean, Ohio State every year is one of the, I mean, they're loaded with talent, but in the playoffs last year, there was a few holes in a couple of late in the season that wound up kind of costing them. Do they get that fixed? Because their expectation is a national championship. It's way beyond college football playoff.
Well, they lost some high-end talent on the defense that were high-level NFL draft picks. I think the question for me is at linebacker, they have guys, but none of them are the elite guys that they've had in the past.
No, Riley Pettyjohn is a really good player, but he's not Sonny Styles.
Not many are.
I mean, they got Devin Sanchez at corner. He's really good. Leroy Roker. To me, this is probably going to be a transition year, to be honest. And you just got to hope that the offense makes plays and the defense makes plays because this schedule is a little bit more rougher than it was a year ago.
Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at their schedule. I mean, they start off with Ball State. Second week of the season, they go at Texas here. Kent State at home. Illinois at home. Iowa on the road. Maryland at home. At Indiana. Open date after that game. Then they come back and play at USC. Oregon at home. Northwestern at home, at Nebraska, and then of course they end in the with Michigan at home.
I think it's the Texas game. Last year they didn't really have a tough schedule. They kind of had cruise. They was on cruise for a while.
But they got that win at home against Texas, which really mattered.
The schedule this year and where they lost a lot, like Bobby said, on defense, is going to probably make them play with more urgency this year. And that could benefit them going into the, later into January and December make them a better team, I think. So we'll find out what they're made of when they go on the road to some of these teams like Indiana and um,
USC.
USC.
Yeah. Bobby, key game. What do you think?
I think that Texas game, like you guys said, it's massive. I mean, the whole season could flip off that. If you perform well and you do what you're supposed to do, I mean, you go 11-1, 12-0. If you lose that game, do you lose some momentum and coming down the stretch with some of those other games that are on the road? I'm not saying they're going to go 8-4, but I mean there is a possible scenario where that could happen.
I think that's a little bit of a stretch, Bobby.
Right. I could be a hater.
All right, but I mean their schedule. I believe it's much harder this year than it has been in the past. To be honest with you, I'll start with you, Bobby. I mean, what do you think this team winds up regular season record with?
I think they go 10-2. I think they lose a couple of those road games.
I mean, that's fair. At Texas, at Indiana, at USC. I mean, you know, there's some pretty tough games in there, I believe. So
that might be on Brad's end because when Brad exited out, he didn't have an echo. So I don't know.
It could be, guys. I am using a different setup to do this, so.
But yeah, 10-2. I think. I think they'll lose a couple of games. I think they'll lose to Oregon. There's always that one game that Ohio State usually loses, and it probably be at home this year. I think the Oregon game, and I think they lose at Indiana too.
I mean, 10-2 would be a record that I don't think most fans are expecting. To be honest with you.
No, but they'll still get into the playoffs. So I think they'll beat Texas early on, depending on what Texas brings. Which Texas added a whole bunch of new loaded rosters. So we'll talk about them next week. So
I mean, with their talent, guys, I have them at 11-1. To be honest with you, they'll find a way to win some of these games, but if they lose that Texas game, they definitely could end up 10-2. I'm sure y'all probably agree with that.
Yeah, I think personally, I think they lose that Texas and not Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, so it very likely could be. All right, let's get to the Ducks. Dan Lanning is amazing, to be honest with you. He's one of my favorite coaches. He's one of my favorite coaches in the country. But I want to ask you more. So Dan Lanning, he's won as many games as Ryan Day, but he doesn't have a national title. And since he's been there.
He's one of the best coaches in college football. And to look at his record, I looked at a stat. The past 3 years, they're 1-5, Bobby, against teams that ended up in the national title game, and they're 37-0 against everybody else. And
they have not lost a game that did not make the college football playoff since 2022.
They've had 3 top 10 defenses and offenses since 23. If a team has this type of product, I think eventually you're going to see a team break through eventually, ain't you? I mean, at some point.
I mean, my biggest question, Bobby, about the coach here is replacing the coordinators. Is that going to be an issue at all?
I think there could be some hiccups early on. I think that's a big question, at least. I think they'll be fine, but initially you're going to have some differences and some things that could.
Well, I think you got to understand they were both around for that 3 year, moment, which offers a little bit of, some struggles if Lanning knew that they'd leave eventually and have coordinators ready to promote, in which he does. And second, the offensive line is getting a whole remake, and they lost Cutter Leftwich, and they lost 3 starters. So they're going to be kind of building a team around a few newcomers, freshmen, sophomores, and some transfers. So, and a lot of that offensive line, Brad, they've not been great in the college football playoff. They've been overwhelmed. So who knows where they go from here?
All right, Bobby. Impactful transfers. Is there any that's going to help them out?
Coy Parrish from Minnesota, who we mentioned earlier, could be the next safety drafted out of Oregon. He's very, very good.
Iverson Hooks from UAB. I really love him. Simeon Price from Colorado. They got Jalen Lott, Kendry Harrison, Messiah Hampton, I think, freshman. It's hard to imagine Moore not having the quality of prospects that he's going to have at his disposal.
Speaking of more key returning player, guys, I mean, I don't think there's more important player than Dante Moore. But I will say this, Bobby, on the returning players, that defensive line may be the best in the country.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think all 3 of those guys would have been first or second round picks last year.
Yeah, and they came back. Yeah.
Amari Washington's back. Bear Alexander, I think.
Yep.
Mateo Uyungale.
He's back. Jerry Mixon, inside linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
then they kind of had
linebacker.
Yeah, they had to add a little bit into the safety room too. From the
talking about the offense with Moore, I mean, they got some running backs returning. They did lose, 1 there, maybe 2, but they got some running backs returning. And Moore should be, in my opinion, one of the best quarterbacks in the country on the offensive side of the ball. The line is a little bit of a question, I think. Tight end's going to be great.
Yeah, the 2 running backs they have back, Jordan Davidson and De'Aaron Hill Jr. as freshmen combined for almost 1,300 yards last year.
Yep, they should be great. And
I'll say this.
Tight end room's going to be great again.
If you look at their schedule, which we get to, I would rather have Oregon's issues than everybody else's because they only play USC on the road and they play, I think it's Ohio State on the road.
At Ohio State, yeah.
And other than that, you're probably looking at another playoff team. So,
Bobby, just how good can this defense be, though? I mean, because I think this may be one of the top defenses in the country.
Elite. They could be absolutely elite.
Yeah.
It's an assortment of riches.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you look at it, Carl Williams from Baylor, Aaron Flowers, Brandon Finney Jr., Coy Perch from Minnesota. I mean, I'd rather have their defenses have anybody else's in the country, to be honest with you.
I believe it could be top 2, 3 defenses in the country. And without a question, I think it's the best defensive line, to be honest with you. And that comes from the Oregon Ducks out there. So let's look at their schedule. They start off with Boise State at home, at Oklahoma State, the second game, Portland State at home. Then they go to that at USC game that could be important there. Open date, return to play against UCLA at home, Nebraska at home. At Illinois could be a tricky game maybe there for them. Northwestern at Ohio State. Michigan at home at Michigan State. And they end the season against Washington at home. A rival there for them.
I think it's the Oklahoma State game, and I say that because you don't want to lose that game.
Do you remember what they did to Oklahoma State last
You
year.
brought that up. You brought that up the other night in one of our shows when we was talking about the Big 12. Yeah, you don't want to lose that game because, especially with USC on the road and Ohio State on the road,
That was an
it can
absolute massacre last year, John. Massacre.
70-3.
it can be a little bit tricky because you got that Week 4 game at USC and you lose Oklahoma State. There's already 2 losses there, but I think they'll go into
that was
Oklahoma
the
State.
night Mike Gundy just stayed at home. That was that.
I think he was tuned out. So
He just checked out.
I'm gonna go. What do you think, Bobby? 10-2, 10-1.
I think 11-1 at worst.
Yeah, I think
in my personal opinion.
I think 11-1. I think the only loss is possibly Ohio State on that schedule. So
My exact
11-1
thought.
would be impressive for Dan Lanning after losing both coordinators, I believe here, because both of them are damn good, to be honest with you. So, to do that, I'm going to agree with you here. They do make the playoffs. I think it's 10-2 or 11-1. I'm going to go 11-1 like you guys with the Ducks here, and I think that would be mighty impressive for the Ducks if they can do that after losing both these good coordinators and to do that. All right, we're going to go to Penn State. Penn State went through a disaster last year, to be quite honest with you. Something that you usually do not see out there. And they wound up hiring Iowa State's coach, Matt Campbell. Bobby, I'll start with you. I mean, what do you think of the hire? And are you as high on it as the country seems to be?
I think he's a good fit. I really do. I think he's to win like he did at Iowa State, a program that really struggled prior to him. I think says a lot about him.
he had 2 top 15 finishes in Ames, and he brought a boatload of players.
Ames is a lot different than where he's at now.
It's a lot different.
My thing is this. He brought a boatload, I don't know, 18, 20 players from Iowa State with him, a boatload of them. I mean,
24 to be exact.
Okay, a lot. That's all I can tell you. And, okay, playing at Iowa State and Ames and then taking them same players and going to Penn State and playing against the Oregons and the Indianas and in the Michigans and USC and Washington and all these teams out in the Big Ten, I'm just not sure that I'm ready to anoint them as a 10-2 team that some of these people are talking about.
I'll be honest with you. The defense will be good, but we're talking about the offense first. I'm very concerned about the offense. They only return
most impactful transfers is, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, they're basically starting Rocco Beck at quarterback, Carson Hansen at running back, wide receiver Chase Sowell and Brett Isklinson, which is 2 guys from Iowa State. I mean, now they did get running back James Peoples from Ohio State, which was exciting. But they're just basing this turnover on new guys offensively, and that kind of concerns me. From a Iowa State team that was not great last year.
Bobby, I'm not even going to ask you about any key returning players on this team, to be honest with you. I don't even feel like we should even discuss that, to be honest. Offensively, I mean, Matt Campbell he's really known for his toughness and his defense. What do you think Beck will bring from Iowa State with him to Penn State?
Well, he's one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the country. He's played in almost 40 games, but in my personal opinion, I think it's gonna look the exact same as Iowa State. It's bend but don't break.
Which I'm not sure plays all that well in the Big Ten.
No,
I agree.
not really. I mean, now the defense should be strong. They get Zion Tracy back.
I agree with that. The defense should still be strong, and Penn State is actually known for their defense most of the time. So
they are.
yeah, I mean, I do believe that they will have a strong defense. They will be a good team. I'm not saying anything. I just what's going on. I kind of feel like there's a lot of talk about just some 9-3, 10-2 stuff, and I don't know. I'm just not ready to say that after the disaster that happened last year.
I agree. I think
yeah, go ahead.
8-4, and they continue to just build. Let Campbell. I think this fan base needs to just let Coach Campbell go and develop and recruit players that are going to fit this institution and the things that he wants to do.
Yeah, I don't think bringing 24 players from Iowa State is going to be going to put you exactly where you want to be out in Penn State. And looking at the rundown here, guys, I mean, their schedule does play out a little bit better, I think, for them this year, to be honest with you. They start with Marshall at home, at Temple, and Buffalo. So that's 3 pretty good winnable games right there. Wisconsin at home, at Northwestern. Then they get USC at home and at Michigan, an open date. Get Purdue at home, at Washington, Minnesota at home, Rutgers at home, and at Maryland. I don't know if you guys listened or not, but there's no Oregon, there's no Indiana, there's no Ohio State. There's no Ohio State. So, I mean, I do believe that their schedule does play out a little bit.
That's where I think the 10-2 conversation can kind of happen to a point because the schedule sets up for it.
This is true. I will give you that much. The schedule does kind of set up for them to make some noise that they really shouldn't make, to be honest.
I agree.
Key game. Do you want to throw a key game in there somewhere?
I think at Michigan, I think you see where they're at. I think that's the toughest game on the schedule. And then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, this is true.
I think it's the USC in-state. It's probably the biggest for Matt Campbell. You win this game, everybody's talking about you. You lose, you're basically just staying afloat for a bowl game at that point. So,
all right, they do have a favorable schedule, 12-game record. I'm going to go first. I do think with this schedule, they do have a chance of going 9-3.
Yeah.
With this schedule, 8-4. If they slip up 1 or 2 places, 8-4 could be where they land. But I think it's probably one of those two. But I want to ask you this: if they slip in at 10-2 because of their schedule, is this a team that gets blown out?
I absolutely think so because I don't think they're at the level with the rest of those teams. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I think if they slip in, John, what do you say on the record?
8-4.
8-4. All right.
I just think that they're going up against teams like Oregon, Ohio State. Their level is just not where it needs to be right now.
All right, we're going to
I
get
think
to
8-4 as well.
8-4. All right. I mean, I think that's absolutely where they could wind up. 8-4, 9-3. So let's go Purdue. Um, I want to start out with this, Bobby, with the Purdue. I liked their hire last year. I do like Barry Odom as a coach. Um, I want to put that out there. They did not have a good season. Um, he's in year 2. Do they give Barry Odom a little time, you think, or no?
I hope they do because I think he's a good coach. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But they've lost 18 straight Big Ten games.
Ouch.
So it's hard to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and losing Jeff Brom after the last 2 years, they've gone 7-29, and not to mention their old rival down the road, Indiana, has went on a surge, and it feels like okay.
Don't go there if you don't want to win championships or something like that.
We're kind of in a bad spot here. So people don't realize, and Bobby can kind of vouch with me on this, how good of a coach Joe Tiller was with Breeze and some of the players that they had. And at one point, Purdue was a pretty decent football team. Now. It was. And Purdue was a pretty decent football team. I like Odom. I think he's really good. He resurrected the UNLV program. So there's nowhere to go but up right at this point.
The problem with resurrecting UNLV versus resurrecting Purdue is he's got to do this in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I agree.
Doing that out in the Mountain West was one thing, but doing this in the Big Ten, I'm not sure. Bobby, is there any impactful transfers that could maybe find a few more wins here for them?
They have 20-plus new guys on the roster. I think the number one guy is Elo Madozi, the defensive end from Georgia. I think that he provides a really solid pass rush off the edge for them.
I like, Jarrett Gibson from Texas, the running back. I think they need some movement on the offensive side of the ball. They wasn't great last year. Defense was absolutely atrocious last year. Defense just got absolutely whipped. They couldn't stay on the field. It was a bad product. At least they're getting some guys back. Well, they're getting some guys back. Ian Jeffries, Charles Correa, Kevin Kane returns under Ryan Walters, which is going to be really good for them, old coordinator. Jaden Mangham from Michigan is going to help a lot. So, like I said, you can't go nowhere but up with what Purdue's trying to build.
Any key?
I do think that they have. I do think that they have a solid quarterback though, and Ryan Brown.
Yeah, Ryan Brown's good.
He's a good dual threat type guy, and he's added some weight. So I think that he's going to be able to take the beatings in the Big Ten a little bit better.
I do like their quarterback. I mean, he does have, and that's one thing that Odom has used to help build his teams in the past is good quarterback play. To be honest with you, so I do like that part of it. Defensively, man, are they even gonna be? I mean, do you think they can do anything in this Big Ten? I mean, it's gonna be tough.
It could be a struggle. Let's just say
it's going to be tough this year. To be honest, it's.
All right, I'm gonna look at their schedule. Do a rundown real quick. They start off with Indiana State and Wake Forest at home, at UCLA, Notre Dame at home in week 4, at Illinois, Minnesota at home, Washington at home, open date at Penn State, Maryland at home, at Iowa at home, and they end at Indiana. I mean, look, the Boilermakers have a pretty. I mean, when you got Notre Dame, Indiana, I mean Michigan. I mean,
Yes.
it's a pretty tough schedule there.
Yes. I think I'm going to go 3-9 here. Um, anything. This is another one like Michigan State. Anything improvement wise is going to be, a win. So
2-10, and then 3-9. I mean, it's like he better get it right next year. That's what it is.
I think 3-9 as
Bobby, what do
well.
you think?
3-9 as well. I think that's. You get 4 wins. I think that's a pretty good job, honestly.
I kind of agree. I'm going to go 3-9 as well. On with the Boilermakers, and we will move on to the next team. Let me get down here. Like I said, now I'm having to scroll like forever.
Rutgers.
All right, we're getting to Rutgers. Gosh, second tenure. That's all I ever hear with Greg Schiano. Like, seems like he's been there forever. To me, I'm not sure how many years has he been there this second time.
18th season over 2 tenures.
This is his 7th year, I want to say.
Seventh in the second time. Like, they've been decent. They've been a 5-7, 6-16. Is that the max that he's going to be able to do this second time around? Because it seems.
I think so.
I mean, last year their offense was pretty good, and they went 4-8. Their defense is what was bad. It was dead last in yards allowed. That's usually not what happens under Jeff Schiano, because Greg Schiano, I'm sorry. His defenses are pretty well known for being physical and up front. He fixed a little bit of that. He brought in South Dakota head coach Travis Johnsonson. He's the new defensive coordinator. It's his first FBS job. So there's only 2 guys back from last year's defense. So it's a whole brand new teardown, let's be honest. I'm interested to see where they kind of end up at schedule-wise, because I think they averaged them to be 6 wins, I think. So depends on what their schedule kind of runs like. So
Bobby, you can throw in key players or key impact players or return transfers if you want, or we can just go straight to the offensive talk, whichever you want to do.
I think Jaden Burnett and Malachi Davis on the defensive line, 2 transfers from Tulsa and Toledo, could play big roles. They haven't had a guy get over 5 sacks there, I want to say, since 2019.
That's insane.
well,
That's insane.
I'll be honest. There's one guy on offense that I really like, and that's KJ Duff.
Yes,
he might be the second, maybe even first or second best player in the country, or even the conference. So that's a big plus to their offense, bringing him back.
All right. Defensively, I mean, again, is this a team that can match with very many Big Ten teams, or are they going to be overwhelmed?
it can't get any worse. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it does get worse, they in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean their defense has got to be better. They got Malachi Davis from Toledo, Rondo Porter from App State. They got a lot of FBS guys. FCS guys. Let's be honest.
Is that going to be enough in the Big Ten to make a big difference? I mean, that's a good question.
It's hard to feel It's hard to feel confident here. I mean, let's be honest.
All right, schedule rundown for Rutgers is UMass at home, at Boston College, USC at home, and Howard at home. And then they play Indiana at home, so they do have some home dates there to start with. Open date at Maryland, at Northwestern, Michigan at home, at Wisconsin, Nebraska at home, at Penn State, and Michigan State at home to end the season. Um, they do get some home games there early, so um, the at Boston College game is probably the key game to me.
Yeah, that's probably your early game. You win that one, you got a shot at a bowl. Um, I think I'm going to go 6 wins, Bobby. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think their defense will be better. Their offense will be really good with Duff. And they got the transfer from Boston College, the quarterback, which is really good quarterback. Just the quarterback play, I think, needs to be really good this year for them to be successful. So give me 6 wins.
I agree. I'm going to go 6 wins as well. Even with Anthony Kaliakmanis, who at the cornerback last year, he got drafted, and they still went 4-8, like you said. So with KJ Duff and Antoine Raymond at running back, this offense should be really good. And I think the defense will improve enough.
They're going to score points. It's just a matter of will the opponent score points. So that's on the other side of the equation.
I mean, I think 6-6 could be. They could reach a bowl game here. I think that Boston College game on the road is going to be absolute key for that to be, in my opinion. I got them at 5-7, and just missing out. Of course, nowadays maybe a 5-7 gets you in one of those bowl games. I mean, you never know nowadays, but. We're going to move on from Rutgers. And there's a lot of teams here in the Big Ten.
UCLA is up next.
UCLA is next, guys. Yeah, UCLA is next. Of course, Bob Chesney is out there. Here's what I want to start out with the coach. Are they trying to replicate what Cignetti did here, you think? That's what they're hoping for?
A little bit. I think Chet is a really good coach from, James Madison. Man, he brought some really good dudes with him. Some really good running backs, receivers, linemen. Now, he's working in a new territory here. He's had a heck of a career, Bobby. He come from Division III.
The template, Bobby, was a couple of years ago. Cignetti left, James Madison, brought a bunch of players with him. Everybody questioned it. Everybody thought, well, those players probably, be playing up and won't be at the same level. The template's there for what Bob Chesney's doing.
Absolutely. And I think Chesney's a fantastic coach, but he's only coached on the East Coast. So this is a major jump, honestly, because you're going to a completely different side of the country.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest question mark for me. Is like, I think that this team can win because they have good coaching and they have good players, but this is a completely different vibe.
Well, and two, couldn't get no work. Last year I think UCLA started out 0-4. Me and Brad talked about this last year, and they was giving up a lot of points. And then all of a sudden, they ripped off a 3-game winning streak. They fired James Franklin basically at Penn State, and they had a really good run to the end of the year last year. They beat Michigan State, which that was another one. They got rid of 2 coaches basically. And they beat Maryland. So, there's a lot of vibes that can change in a hurry, and I think Bob Chesney fits that bill for this program.
I mean, the transfers, I've already talked about it. He's bringing in quite a few James Madison players, Bobby. Is there anybody else that you want to mention here?
I think they got a linebacker from Oklahoma that can be a big difference as well. But at the same time, there's so much James Madison guys, like we've said.
Teo Johnson was big for them from Utah. I felt like, from the defensive side of the ball. Getting Nico Iamaleava, the quarterback.
There you go. I'm not trying to butcher that, so I'm glad you said it.
He's back. I think getting him back was a big plus. So, Landon Ellis at receiver from the JM, Wayne Knight, the running back, Riley Robel, one of the all Sun Belt linemen. So, like you said, he added a bunch of guys from James Madison that, it's kind of moving up into that next level like Indiana did. And, look what Indiana did with
It
some
worked for
James
them.
Madison.
I mean, that's all I'm saying.
It worked for them. So, I mean, it is what it is.
All right, offensively, I'm just going to say Nico here, guys, because I'm not butchering all that. But all right, does he recover a little bit here? I mean, he had a better second half, like John said last year. Does he recover a little bit here after? Let's just call it a kind of a bum move last year, to be honest with you. And I think it cost them early, but they did recover from it.
I think the stability will help them with a Chesney and the rest of this coaching staff bring. So I think it's going to be really beneficial for him that he's going to have guys in his corner that he can just rely on.
I mean, what's crazy is 2 years ago, I mean, he was considered easy a first-round draft pick, and now nobody's talking about him, really, as far as high draft pick. Y'all would agree with that, right?
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
would, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, defensive side of the ball here for Chesney. Again, those James Madison guys are going to step in here. Do you think that he can make a move for this UCLA team out there on the defensive side of the ball?
I think that they're going to just be kind of like middle of the pack, but I think that that's okay, especially initially. As you kind of get this thing and you build this together, because you got so much new guys coming in. I know we've talked about like the whole JMU aspect. I think it's different than Signetti though, because I think Signetti just has this persona and he just wins like we talked about. And Chesney's won at a high level, but he's not at Signetti's level.
That's true. Now, I want to start with this on the schedule rundown. The one thing I will say, I mean, they go at Cal to begin this season. There's really no like a game or two get your feet wet or anything in that realm most of the time, like most teams do. They get San Diego State in week 2 and Purdue in week 3. At Maryland, open date at Oregon, Wisconsin at home, Michigan State at home, Nevada at home, at Minnesota, Illinois at home, at Michigan, and they end with USC at home. There is no Indiana. There is no Ohio State. They do miss a few teams. There's no Oregon. No, there is an Oregon. They play at Oregon. But they do miss a couple of teams there, on their schedule. Key game for you guys?
I think that Cal game's big. I really do. But I think Cal's going to be pretty decent.
I think
Cal's going to be a lot better.
Yeah. And it's on the road, too, start the season with.
I think the Cal game, you win that one, I think you're looking at probably a 7-win year. You're looking at a better year than you had a year ago. You're back in a bowl game. So I'm excited for this UCLA team. I think they're going to be a lot better. Their schedule sets up well for them.
I do think they get to a bowl.
I do. And I think they win 7.
Okay. Bobby?
I'm going to say 6 and 6. I think they're just right in the middle there. But I think 7 and 5 is certainly possible.
I'm going to say 6 and 6 as well, but I do think they get to a bowl game in Chesney's first year here. So I think their schedule is a little bit favorable. I like the front half of their schedule, first 4 games. I feel like if you can get that win at Cal, I think you could start off maybe 4-0, and get some momentum. And could Nico turn that into something and get to that 7-win mark? I mean, it's possible. I think that would be big in year one.
I agree.
All right. The next one we're going to get to, guys, is USC. And you can't talk about USC with asking you, Bobby, about Lincoln Riley. I mean, look, USC has never given coaches too much rope, to be honest with you. They've always cut ties fairly quick. They've hung on to what I consider. I mean, they look 8-4, 9-3 was never good enough, but they are where they are right now with Lincoln Riley. Does he squeeze into a college football playoff spot this year?
I think
Can they stir?
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think they will, though.
They're too tall, is all I'm saying.
I do like the fact they brought in Gary Patterson, defensive coordinator. He hasn't had a job probably since 21. That was his last year at TCU. Riley's going to do his thing with the spread. He's really good there. So I'm going to say this with a good defense,
John, for real, is 8-4. If they do that this year again, is that good enough for USC fans?
No, not at all. With a good defense, though, I think this team is playoff because Jaden Mayava, it might be one of the best quarterbacks in this conference. You fix him and you get a good defense that don't get shredded every single night, USC might be playing for a chance to play in the playoff. So it's all about the defense for me, especially with this team.
Any impactful transfers that you want to mention, Bobby?
Jontez Williams, the defensive back from Iowa State. I think he'll be a big player for them.
All right. And then, returning players, I think there's quite a few that you could mention here.
Yeah, Mayava, of course. That's the first guy. Yeah. I think I like the running back tandem too of Wayman Jordan and King Miller. I think that those guys work well together.
Will Anderson from NC State is another one. So they got a really good
offensively. Last year, I felt like they come down a little. Like it wasn't quite up to Lincoln Riley's normal last year. Do you think he gets back to his normal, like, top-notch level?
I personally don't think he does. I really don't. I think that you're going to go 8-4. This is last year. That's just my personal opinion.
There's a hot take for you guys from Bobby. And it's very likely, if you ask me, defensively, I think that's been their struggle since Riley's been out there, to be honest with you. They never really, Barry Alexander transferred out there a couple of years ago. Everybody was talking, a couple of others that they had, everybody was talking about, they hired a new guy at the same time. And they just never have really been able to get over the hump out there. For the Trojans on the defense, to be honest with you. And I'm not sure that they can do it this year either. So I agree with you, Bobby. Let's take a look at their schedule. They start off with San Jose State at home, Fresno State. So there's a couple and then Louisiana. So there's 3 games. And then at Rutgers, their first real game, if it looks like their schedule here, is Oregon on the September 26th, Washington at Penn State, Wisconsin on the road, Ohio State at home, Indiana on the road, Maryland at home, and they end at UCLA. Is their rundown of their schedule. Key
I,
games.
I, I think I don't know. Looking at this schedule, the back end's kind of tough,
It is.
but I think from a USC, fan base type thing, I think anything less than what the 7-6-9, whatever, 10 wins, I just don't think they're going to be happy. And it's 9-3 is where I got them. I mean, there's some teams in there that's probably going to be better than they are. So,
I mean, you got to play at Penn State. It's never easy playing Happy Valley.
At Indiana, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not easy. 9-3 is where I got them. I mean, that's not going to be what fans want, but
9-3 might actually keep him because 9-3 could possibly sneak into the playoffs. I mean,
you got to
maybe.
have a couple other teams lose. But
Yeah, but I mean, there's still a chance that you would at least be in the running at 9-3, maybe. 8-4, like Bobby said, I'm just not sure that Riley's back there, to be honest with you. And I think it could be 8-4, Bobby. But I also think they could go 9-3. I just don't think they're any better than that, though.
Yeah, I think they go
Like you
8-4 and
said,
he becomes an NFL offensive coordinator. That's just how I see it.
I mean, you could be right. All right, we're going to go to Washington. Washington, I think, could be a surprise team here.
yeah, off season was a little tricky.
It was, but I think Washington actually could be a sneaky little sleeper pick here out of the Big Ten, in my opinion. What do you think about their coach after DeBoer here?
I love Jed Fish. Oh, go ahead.
I like him too. I think it's interesting that he's going to be the offensive coordinator now too, play caller and such. I think it fits well.
I really like how he uses Damon Williams. The only thing that concerns me about Damon, there's sometimes where he runs into trouble and gets sacked sometimes. But his upside is really, really good. The skill core going to be really good. They played the 4 best Big Ten defenses last year in Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Wisconsin. And they didn't do much scoring in those games. Their schedule a little bit better this year, I think. So I like what Jed Fish is building, and I like, especially the skill position players that he's brought in and the guys that have come back.
All right, so impactful transfers, Bobby. Who you got on that's going to help the Huskies?
Christian Moss, wide receiver from Tennessee State, is a really, really fun player to watch. He was a really good player in the Conference USA there with them. They got some defensive guys too that'll help.
Getting Jaden Lamar from Oregon was really big too, the running back. I think he's a veteran in that backfield. Like you said, Jordan Washington, Desmond Roebuck is a big plus for me. I love Roebuck. I think he's a really good player. And they returned 4 starters off the line. So, he bringing back some experienced guys and some veterans.
Key returners. I mean, Damon Williams, is he returner? Was he in the portal? I'm not sure what's going on with that situation. But after all of that, Bobby, my question to you is all that going to be just washed? Do you have to wash it, and do you think he's going to be able to wash that?
I put my coaching hat on for that real quick, and I think that's a little bit of a concern personally. Does it create tension in the locker room?
Yeah. I mean, is the commitment there? You know,
If the commitment's to the almighty dollar.
yeah, this is true. I mean, he pretty much showed that, to be honest with you. But I'm talking about now that he's back and kind of forced back during this season. Is the real commitment going to be there?
I'm intrigued to see when some adversity happens, because inevitably it will. What happens?
Yep.
I think that's when we find out what we need to know about this team.
Yeah, I think so too. Defensively, John, is there anything on the defensive side of the ball that you think is going to be special?
I think Kyle McClendon from Mississippi State was a big one. Getting him, Darren Conley from Ball State. Alex McGoughlin, the safety. I think this is going to be a pretty decent defense, but I think everybody's going to be just kind of focused on their offense with Damon Williams and what they brought back. So Jeb Fish should have a really good football team, and their schedule sets up really well too.
Let's take a look at that schedule. They start off with Washington State, first game of the year, Utah State and Eastern Michigan, all at home, Minnesota at home, and then they play at USC, Iowa at home, at Purdue, open date, at Nebraska, Penn State at home, at Michigan State, Indiana at home, and then at Oregon to finish off the year. But Bobby, if you look at that schedule, there's not very many tough games until you get to at Oregon at the very end of the year.
I mean, you're looking at 9 wins, maybe 10.
Very, very possible. I got them at 9-3 personally.
I mean, I think at USC is probably the key game to me, because that's the only other game on that schedule on the road that looks like it could be tough. And that's like week 5 or something. That would be my key game there for the Huskies. If they could sneak a win there at USC, I mean, could this team be 10-2?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, they could. I think that game for both of those programs is make or break, honestly.
Yeah. I think that is an absolute key game. So I'm going to agree with you on 9-3. And again, I think that would be a stellar year for the Huskies and Fish out there. John, is that what you said, 9-3?
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah.
All right. All right, we're going to end up, guys, on Wisconsin, and I'm just going to say it. I don't even like, for real, why is Luke Fickell still there?
That's a great question.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, isn't the idea of football to score points?
Well, the thing about it was, I'll say this real quick, Bobby. I think it was last year. It was right around the time many thought the Badgers were going to get rid of him. Instead, they did the complete opposite and kind of brought him back. And everybody was kind of shocked at it on social media.
I'm still shocked. I'm just going to be honest with you.
He's 15-19, 2-6 record at that point. They committed to the NIL.
Do you guys remember Wisconsin was a yearly 8 or 9 win team most of my life?
I'll say this. I'm not really sure where the bar is for this year, but I'm confident to say that you've had your worst season since 1990 a year ago. It couldn't get any worse. And I do think they're going to be better this year. I think they got a talented roster compared to last year. But what does that transpire on the field? Until you get on that field and really know what you're getting, you don't exactly know. So,
all right.
And one of those
Bobby, you
transfers.
can
Oh,
say
go ahead.
something there about Fickle if you want, because I asked a question. But I mean, is there any impactful transfers that's going to help the man, or what?
Well, first I'll say I think the Fickle hiring was a disservice to the high school coaches in the state of Wisconsin because what he runs is not like anything that any of those coaches run. So I think it alienated the recruiting base
And
that they could get from any
it
state.
doesn't match Wisconsin either. I mean, what they've always done.
Absolutely. Right. That said, though, they added Colton Joseph at quarterback, and that does help a lot. He's very, very good. He's a great dual threat quarterback that will fit the system better than the guys they've had in the past.
All right. Is there any key returners? I mean,
Mason Post at linebacker is probably their best returning guy, honestly. I mean, he's a solid player, but there's not a lot back that you feel good about.
And John, offensive outlook here, guys. I mean, honestly, score some points. Can you score? That's all I want to ask.
Yeah, I need to score some points. Just wasn't great last year. Quarterback play at times was bad. They got one of the, like he said, he's probably the most exciting quarterbacks in the portal. Colton Joseph from Old Dominion. Abu Sama from Ohio State was a big one, running back. Nate Palmer from TCU with Darren Dupree. He remade the whole secondary pretty much. Javon Robinson, Marvin
with
Birch.
The transfers, do you guys expect this offense to be a little bit better then?
I do. I think this team will be better this year. Yep.
All right. And I'll be honest with you, I have not kept up with it. I was astonished that they did not let go of Fickle last year. I'm still kind of shocked by it, to be honest.
I think replacing the coordinator position, Phil Longo, was a big plus. Jeff Grimes is in that spot now. If Joseph, to me, stays upright and he's not hurt, he's a massive upgrade compared to a year ago at the quarterback spot.
All right. You want to add anything on the defensive side of the ball here, Bobby, or are you ready to go for a rundown schedule?
I'll just say it's sad to see how far they've dropped off defensively as well.
Yeah.
Their defense has always been a staple.
Like I remember so many like really good teams and running backs, and they would just run the ball down your throat. I mean, there was nothing you could do about it. And it's just really sad to see where this program is 3 years later. How long has he even been there? 3-4 years? Something like that. It's just not good. All right, going to go to a schedule rundown here, guys. And here you go, right off the bat. They play Notre Dame in week 1. Hello, there you go.
Right out of the gate.
Western Illinois 2, Eastern Michigan 3, week 3, Penn State at Penn State, Michigan State at home, open date at UCLA, USC at home, Iowa on the road, Rutgers at home, at Maryland, at Purdue, and they end the season with Minnesota at home. Is there anything on that schedule that tells you guys they can be a little bit better? What's a key game for you?
I think the game at Penn State will be interesting because I think it'll be a good measuring stick. Where are they?
Or Michigan State at home could be
that
a good
too.
measuring stick as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and this ain't going to be popular, but I think the Notre Dame game's big. And I say this because if you beat Notre Dame, you change the whole narrative of your season.
Man,
just in one game.
If you bet that, I'm telling you right now, man, Like for real, John. Don't bet that. All right. I
I'm
just want to
not.
tell you.
I'm just saying from a massive change of direction, you win that game, you change the whole perception of your year. And Fickle is probably back off the hot seat
I
for at least
mean,
a week or two.
yes, I agree. I mean, I can't even fathom them beating Notre Dame in week one,
No,
Bobby.
I don't either. But I've seen
Just don't get
crazy
embarrassed.
Yeah, that's for sure. Don't get absolutely like run off the field. 73s, right?
Yeah, at Lambeau, especially in front of a national live
Yeah,
audience. So
yeah, yeah. All right. Let's pick our records here, Bobby. Where you got the Wisconsin Badgers landing in 2026?
I'll say 5-7. I think they fall short of a bowl again.
They were 3-9 last year or something like that. What
five
were
and
they?
7. I got them at 5-7.
And there's no way. Listen, if he does miss a bowl, there's no way you bring him back. Like, there's just no way.
Jason Eck at New Mexico has to be the next guy. He played at Wisconsin too.
Anybody. I don't go back to Wisconsin high school football and hire the best high school football coach in Wisconsin. I don't care what you do. That would be better than what you have, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm serious.
But to me, to see the downfall from Cincinnati to here is quite impressive. It's just Wisconsin being a football school and Cincinnati not being one, you would think that he would be a better coach than what he is at Wisconsin. So,
I mean, he just look. I said it when they hired him. He's not a match for Wisconsin. It's a weird setup to begin with. He does not run what they have always run.
no, they're more of a ground and pound, play defense. It's a whole different setup.
It is. All right, guys. We got a couple of things here to get to, and then we're going to close this show out. Try to do this quickly. 2 teams that you think Bobby is going to make the championship game for the Big Ten this year.
Indiana against Oregon. I have Indiana winning.
All right. You got Indiana winning the Big Ten again. All right. John, give me 2 teams that's going to play in the championship game and your winner.
I got Indiana and Ohio State, and I got Indiana winning. I think they lose the first matchup, but I think they win the Big Ten championship.
Well, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going Oregon and Ohio State, and I'm actually going to pick Oregon to win the Big Ten here.
Brad's not on the Indiana train this year. He's not on the Indiana train this year.
Indiana is going to be right there. Could they tie and get a tiebreaker and get in? They absolutely could. But if I'm picking, I look at Indiana's schedule, I look at Oregon's schedule. I like Oregon's schedule better, to be honest with you. So I'm going to pick the Ducks to win. And I got them and Ohio State in the game. Now, football really don't do this, but who would be your player of the year out of the Big Ten? Is it going to be Jeremiah Smith?
Yeah.
I think he's the best player, but I think Dante Moore is going to put up statistics that just can't be touched.
That's a very good point. I like that. I just picked Oregon, so I like your thought.
I actually like Jeremiah Smith, but I think Dante Moore, he's got something to prove this year. I think he's going to come out and he's going to player of the year, I think.
All right, and then last question, guys, on our Big Ten preview and prediction show here from College SportsCast. Bobby, give me a number. How many teams from the Big Ten make the college football playoff?
I think the Big Three do, and I don't think anybody else does. That might be a surprise, but I think the other teams kind of beat each other up.
That's a very reasonable thought, to be honest with you. John, what do you think?
Mm, good question.
You ain't ready to answer that? I'm going to go with Bobby. I think the three teams that are going to be basically top five, top six teams
I think
in the
three.
preseason. I mean, you got Oregon, you got Ohio State, and you got Indiana. Those
Indiana,
three
yeah.
absolutely, I think, are going to make the college football playoff.
Now,
There is an
if
outside
some,
shot that USC, Washington. I think those are the two most likely candidates that could sneak in.
it also depends on if we have another BYU situation like last year.
Penn State, because of their schedule,
Because of
could
the
sneak
schedule.
in. Could sneak
Mhm.
in. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I think they're a team that could sneak in. Um, to be honest with you, so those would be outside of those big three that have a chance.
It's
Um,
I just gotta I just want to say something real quick. Bobby, I appreciate you coming on today before Brad gave the end of this. Bobby knows his stuff. He does a lot of stuff on X. I read his breakdowns, even if it's not Kentucky. I read his
all
breakdowns on all the teams.
138 Division One teams, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's pretty impressive to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Well, thank
he'll
you guys.
follow him at TNT. What is it? College Football One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
So,
thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Bobby,
Thank
it
you.
is
Thank you
great.
for having me.
It is great. We did run over than what I said, but the Big Ten is kind of long. So, if you come back for the ACC or the Group of Five, I know you said you're busy next weekend, so the SEC. But if you come back for one of those, I'll try to keep it a little bit closer to what I said to start with, 2 hours.
I'm
Um,
actually trying to work on an SEC guest for next Sunday. So
yeah. All right.
um, I'll let you know.
Bobby, I appreciate it. I love having you on. You have great insight. You know all your stuff and players and coaches and everything. So you are a great person to come on to these predictions and preview
And I'll
shows.
say this: it's August 9th. Can you all believe that football is like right around the corner?
It is less than 3 weeks away now. Yeah,
Yep.
High school football around
yeah.
here has already started. I went to a scrimmage. I was telling Brad Friday night.
We get
There's
the
another
Dublin game
scrimmage.
3 weeks from yesterday.
Yeah, and there's
I watched
another
a game in
one.
Hawaii the other night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's another. I think there's another scrimmage this week, and then the regular season for our high school is 2 weeks from now. So it's like I don't know what I'm going to do when football season rolls around. I told Brad like this is the most excited I've been because you got new coordinators like Will Stein, Tosh at Cal. Like you got some new faces joining the ranks. So like it's going to be interesting to see how they mesh a team together. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I do want to end at the left corner of this screen. I did not mention this. I do want to end. Download our Roku app. We're doing these preview shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and the Roku. But download our app because once the season starts, a lot of our shows are just going to be on Roku. We're trying to move to be more of a laid back in your recliner on your couch, watching on your TV type deal, and not having to watch on your like screen, your 6-inch screen. And we're trying to move to being able to people like sports on their big screen and on their TV. So we're trying to move to that. So I appreciate it if you guys would download our new Roku app. And I want to end it with that. Bobby, thank you so much. This has been our Big Ten College Football 2026. This is our 5th season, guys. Preview and prediction show. So I appreciate it. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next Sunday again at 3 o'clock. We will see you 3 o'clock on Central Time for the SEC preview next week. It's going to be a big one. Y'all have a good one, Bobby. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.